Meet me. Alright, welcome back, boys. So many of you have asked me to do this, so today we're going to cover the recent balance patch. Luckily, these won't take effect until July 8th, so it'll have no impact on the current RTA season, but next season, I'm sure these will have a big impact. So I actually don't know. I know I read these two already, but I haven't really read the other ones. So we're going to have real time impressions here. So 8 heroes and 2 artifacts are being adjusted, so a pretty hefty balance patch. Let's just go through and talk about all of them and see if it's going to make some heroes god tier. So, ML Ken, I hear that there's a lot of mixed reception to this, but this is in fact a buff in a way. So let's just go through it and then I'll explain. So now his Dragon Flame, which is his S2, it gives him a passive 30% ER increase. So that's very good. That's helpful. I mean, it's not huge, but it makes it a little bit easier to get to that 100%. Now, when his S3 is available, it increases his combat readiness by 25%. So basically, if he counters, if I'm reading it right, every time he counters, it'll bump his CR by 25%. This has a lot of people up in an uproar, I think, but we'll talk about that. The Coming of a Sir, which is his S3, slight bump to his death break chance. So instead of 3 and 4, it's 4 and 5, 80%. And it always results in a critical hit, same as his S2 now. The interesting thing to know is his S1 doesn't have that. And other than that, it's pretty much the same. The slightly higher chance to death break, and it always crits now, so you don't need to build crit rate or crit chance on MLKen. But really, no one did anyway because he was so stat hungry. So is this a buff or is this a nerf? Some people are convinced that it's a nerf. So the thing is, for the vast majority of people, it is a nerf. This is what's causing the problem, I think, because the base standard easy to build ML Ken build is you don't bring him to anything with a strip. You put him on immunity, slow as balls, and he just stands there immune to everything and counters, right? What's the problem with this now? Now, when he gets hit, he's going to start CR bumping himself and rotate out of the immunity. So that's bad. So, for the most common ML Ken build, this is actually a nerf, right? Because he's going to rotate out of his immunity and then suck ass after and get controlled. But it's a buff to the ER build, because let's see why it's better for an ER. Well, first of all, he has more ER to begin with now. But I think the idea that SG was trying to go for is he doesn't actually hit too hard with his S2 without attack buff. So the idea is to have him rotate faster without having to build speed, give himself the attack buff, and then basically have enough effect resist to resist everything and counter with attack buff up. So that makes sense, right? But the thing is, now they're forcing you to go an ER build. And a lot of people are building ER ML Kens anyway, but they're basically telling us that's the only build you're going to be able to run. So realistically, for me, because I don't want to build an ER ML Ken, I have my ER gear on other heroes. It basically means I will never use ML Ken. So I agree that for the vast majority of people, this is probably an annoying nerf. So I don't like the way that they did this. But if you are one of the few people running an ER Ken, it is still technically a buff. It kind of makes sense why they made it work like this, but I understand why the vast majority of people, including myself, will be irritated by this because it doesn't help us at all. I think what they should have done for ML Ken to make him much better, which maybe they didn't want to not have too many duplicate heroes have the same thing. Basically, give him Fighter Maya's passive, because that's the problem with ML Ken, right? Even if you build him with ER, if they have something like anything that has an ignore effect resist ability, he's screwed. It doesn't matter how much ER you have. You just get locked like a Cerise or something, the Soulburn S2, you're screwed. On top of that, if you need to build like 300 ER, right? Because like you can't run ML Ken without Sigurd Scythe. So like even using Strack is not viable. He'll die too fast. So when you have 300 ER, that's a lot of stats missing from attack, health, defense, right? So the ER ML Kens, I don't even care about. I've literally 100 to zeroed ER ML Kens with my LR Crow because I'll just not crit twice and then S3 and he just dies. Like it's pathetic. So I don't think these buffs help him that much. Um, but against certain teams, that have no moves like that ignore ER. If you build like a 300 FRES ER ML Ken, which might be a lot easier with this now, he might be pretty good. But you are getting pigeonholed into that ER build. Opsig, this is just stupid. This is stupid, guys. Like the buffs actually, I think people are overreacting to the buffs because the speed scaling, I'm assuming, will not be that much. So it's a marginal improvement to the damage. And honestly, top cleavers don't care anyway, because quite frankly, they one-shotted anything with a barrier anyway. Like Light, for example, his Opsig, I'm guessing, is around 240, 250. It would hit my FCC if I let it through with attack buff for like 30k. So what? What's the difference between hitting me for 30k or hitting me for 35k or whatever it's going to be? So it doesn't matter that much. The reason this buff annoys me is because who the hell was saying Opsig wasn't good? This is like Cerise 2.0. Like Cerise, top players were using Cerise pre-buff. A lot, a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but often enough compared to a lot of other heroes in the game where no one uses them. Opsig I run into all the time. Like you can use her as like an initiator, you can use her as a cleaver, you can use her as a G purge follow-up to just one-shot carrots. And honestly, 240 speed Opsigs can often one-shot carrot without attack buff. Because what you do is you use something to just trigger the barrier on her, and then use the S2. Ignoring the effect resistance when they're granted a barrier, again, that's better. That's certainly better because now you can't resist the pushback if they have a barrier. But again, I don't think it matters too much. So on the bright side, the buffs I don't think are huge or anything. I think I would need to see the map, but I actually don't think the speed scaling is going to be. It's not like it's going to do double the damage, right? It's probably going to be like 10 to 20%, so it'll slightly make her easier to build. The only reason I have a problem with it was she's kind of a meta unit already, like B or A tier. So why? Like, what was the point of this? But it's fine. It's fine. So Opsig will be a little bit better now. Holiday Yafine, I just made a video saying just skip Holiday Yafine because she's not that important. Like she's very helpful against certain drafts, but in general, except for top RTA players, you probably don't need it. I actually don't know what they changed it for, so let's see. Um, S1, this looks like a 15% extra chance to burn, not a big deal, but 15% is a lot, right? It's almost a 50-50 to a 3 and 4. Big difference. The S2, marginal change. So basically they give her a built-in MLDB, well, not counting the attack buff, but basically she always has a chance to evade now. So it's going to help her survivability a lot and make her a lot more annoying. Pretty significant buff. As for her S3, they changed her soul burn to instead be an extra turn of attack buff to skill cooldown decreased by 2 turns. So this is good. The only problem with it is really if you don't have a mage on your team, it doesn't do anything because she's kind of going to go first to cleanse your team, right? And she can't burn if you don't have a Taga Hells on that first turn. So realistically, in most cases, you can't soul burn it, and you're not going to bother. Like if you soul burn the second time you use it, that means the match is going on like 10 turns, which is very rare in RTA. Especially if you're running Holiday Yafine, you're not going to have a very tanky team. I think these buffs are marginal and don't change her much. I think the best part about it is actually this. It will make her even like harder to deal with and give her some survivability. Because the thing is, right now, the way to kill H. Yafine, especially if you don't have FCC with her, is just tickle her with something and then she just blows up. And if she is a tanky build, she does almost 0 damage, so you can almost just kind of ignore her. So I think marginal buffs, but it does make her better. I still think you can skip her if you're waiting for collabs and SSB and stuff, but definitely makes her better, obviously. They're buffs. No! Green Violet. Why did they buff Green Violet? You guys, anyone who's followed my channel knows I love to rag on Green Violet because there's so many players who insist that he's good, and I just laugh and dumpster them. But let's see. Let's see if these buffs actually make him good. So S1, basically the same, but he gets 15% CR and double the focus. That's a huge buff, so that's amazing. His S2 grants, what the heck is perception? Increases critical hit chance and critical hit damage by 15%. I guess it's pretty good because it makes gearing him a little easier, right? You can cut off 15% crit, so that's actually pretty good and put it into like attack or tankiness stats. His S3. Oh, wait, no, they don't. Okay, so they changed it. So his S2 doesn't give him when Butterfly Cut is available, increases evasion by 35%, and after successfully evading counterattacks with Graceful Cut. Huh. So the main weakness with Violet before was that a lot of times he just got dumpstered before he can use the apple. This is the apple. Now he can evade from the very start, so he's kind of like Violet, right? Although less, because it's 35%, and you put him on MLDB, it'll be 55%. So it's still a straight 50-50. I mean, he has the 5% edge there. But the thing is, he counterattacks, he CR pushes himself, gets a crap ton of focus, which means it's helping him keep this thing available more. If you are going up, like, I might build this just to deal with people like Light, like, where he outgears me and I just go for, like, the 50-50. I just try to RNG the crap out of him. This might be good for that, because he's going to CR push himself. He's still going to be able to one-shot squishies with his S3 and ruin their rotations. I think these buffs are pretty clear-cut. This makes Violet a lot better, in my opinion. These are significant buffs. But I hate them because now I might not be able to make fun of Violet so much anymore. I still think he's not going to be a core RTA. I mean, it is still a straight 50-50, right? Like, you guys know, a lot of top players don't even like using Violet because, like, I know, I just dumpster them half the time where it's like, oh, RB gabbed, Violet just gets one-shotted, and he has a 70% chance to dodge. This is less than that, so 50-50, that's straight up a coin flip where he's just going to die. Granted, you could build him a lot tankier, but still. So I think it definitely makes him way better. Maybe makes him viable in certain drafts. So people who had Violet built already, I think you'll be very happy with these buffs. But for the people who haven't, is it worth building him just because of this? I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe. But maybe I can't make fun of him so much anymore. Elena, instead of 15%, 20% damage reduction, so that's awesome. And she has a built-in Magaharas, essentially. This is a huge buff, because I'm assuming it still stacks with Magaharas, so what was that, like, what is Magaharas? 30%? So 50, it's either 40 or 50% CR push if she uses her S2, which means you could build her super high ER without neutering all her other stats. And yeah, she's going to push herself massively and just get to the front. Or you can build her high ER for a little bit of speed and, ditch the Magaharas and put her on Shamadra or something. This is a very big buff. This is a very big buff. Elena was already a decent pocket pick against things like Carrot. This is going to make her a lot better, might make her show up a lot more. I'm a big fan of this buff because she is kind of rarely used. But I think this will make her pop up a lot more. Sid. I actually don't know the name of the skills, so let's see. I think this is his S3, and this is his S1, right? Because his S1 death broke. Blah, blah, blah. When he has increased speed, uses Whirlwind so he can death break. I apologize if I'm wrong. I really don't know the name of his skills. I think this is his S3. So basically, he can death break on his S3 if he has increased speed, and his S1 has a 100% chance to grant a random buff. I guess these are all pretty good buffs. I'd say this one's kind of wonky because he's. I don't know. I would just hate to get this one because he could probably death break the stuff he's going on anyway, and even with increased effectiveness buff, you're not going to death break a Ruel or anything. I don't think this will change him much. Um, I think it's better overall, but Sid is not really used at high tier RT. I've not seen him once in the past 1,000 matches. I don't think this will make him pop up more. So better, but I think at the high tiers, kind of irrelevant. Helga, uh, okay, she gets a death break now. So everything's the same except she has a 60% chance for a two-turn death break. So obviously that's way better. And is this the same thing? What's the difference here? Did they just copy paste it twice? I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe I'm missing something. It looks exactly the same, so I don't understand that. And encourages allies, increasing attack for 2 turns, and then she gives herself a self CR push. So I guess the idea is give your team attack buff and then push herself, and she could death break slam someone. These are clear cut buffs, but I don't think they're enough to make her use. No one's going to use this anyway. Wait, they separated Helga and Mercenary Helga. Why did I even read Helga then? Alright, so what does Mercenary Helga do? This is essentially the same except the wedge rune. If your entire this is never going to happen. You're never going to have a team that's all Earth and RTA irrelevant. So no difference. I think it's still ass. Doctor's Bag, one of the most useless artifacts in the game, changes to actually it got nerfed on the heal, 14% instead of 20% after using a non-attack skill, but you get it right away, whereas this crap you have to use it 3 times before can only be activated once every 3 turns. This might be really good on some niche heroes. You could put Elena on Doctor's Bag, and basically you would hard counter Carrot, right? Because you just keep cleansing the burns with her S2. Unless it gets procced by some, like, how does this work? Like, if they don't debuff you, is it still gonna proc the Doctor's Bag? Like if Landy goes before a Carrot or something? I don't know. Depending on the interaction, if it saves the debuff cleansing unless they actually debuff you, this might be pretty good on some niche counter units. You're still not going to put it on your like Ruels and stuff, I think, but like Elena, maybe even like no, not Maid because she only has one non-attack skill. But like Elena, possibly DN, like might be pretty good on those kind of heroes. We'll see. Shepherd of the Hollow. I don't really like this artifact, but this is way better. It is way better because this condition was too strict. Like basically, if you're below 25, like it only made sense on K-Ron, and K-Ron, you like knife and stuff is still better. But this does make it a lot better because you get like a mini bonus no matter what, so it's very consistent, and you basically get higher max damage than you did before. So on K-Ron, this actually might be usable now. So this is way better and a straight buff as well. So I think that's everything. Really have no problem with these in general. I mean, the ML Ken thing, I'm not too huge a fan of, but the ER ML Kens out there, I think it is better overall. Opsig, this thing is stupid because she didn't need buffs compared to a lot of other heroes, but I think the paranoia about it is overblown. People are like, oh, she's going to be the best hero in the game now. I was like, no, she's not. It's the same thing. She just does more damage. She one-shotted you anyway. A well-built one-shotted you anyway. Who cares if she does more damage? This is a marginal buff, but does make her better. Violet, time will tell. I think he's a lot better. Time will tell if it makes him good enough to be a meta unit. Elena, I think, is a big improvement. And Sid and Helga, I think, are pretty irrelevant. I don't even know why they bothered with this. So that's my take on these buffs. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If I missed anything or screwed anything up or didn't see some other note. I know in my Strays video, I had 10,000 comments saying that I didn't know that he gets invincibility no matter what when he S3s. I just went off what the video said. That's what the video said. How am I supposed to know? I didn't know I had to read the comments and they would screw it up right away. So let me know if I screwed up something here too. So anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, boys. Peace out.